Good day everyone, we are the Group 3 and we are here to report about the commodity chain analysis. And for the summary, this topic illustrates how commodity chain analysis can be used, starting by how to construct the commodity chain, how to develop a functional analysis, and how to analyze the commodity flows or flowchart. It starts by an introduction on commodity chain analysis as a tool and by a comparison with the other approaches of chain analysis. It then develops a way to construct a commodity chain to specify the concept of agents. The next step deals with the functional analysis of the commodity chain. The last part covers the commodity flow analysis. So let's proceed to introduction. To understand the content of this topic, trainers should make sure that trainees have knowledge of basic elements of microeconomics and a basic knowledge on agricultural commodity sector trader functioning. This topic belongs to a set of modules which discuss how to proceed step by step on commodity chain analysis. So for the target audience, it is of particular relevance to senior and mid-level officials and professional officers in ministries of agriculture, livestock, forestry, rural development, and cooperatives, including all line departments and training institutes or units. It should also be of particular interest to senior executives of parastatals, financial institutions, and NGOs or CBOs. Suitably adapted, it may also be used as a reader in undergraduate courses in development. Required background. No specific of technical background beyond reasonable language skill is required for this topic. However, it is anticipated that individuals with a degree in economics and agricultural or rural development related areas and those with several years of experience in agricultural policy analysis or development planning implementation at a mid to senior level position should have little difficulty in grasping the topic's content.
So, conceptual framework of the commodity chain. So, commodity chain analysis within value chain approaches. So, the value chain describes the activities that take place in a business and relates them to an analysis of the competitive strength of the business. Value chain analysis is one of the ways of identifying which activities are the best undertaken by a business and which are best provided by others or outsourced. What activities a business undertakes is directly linked to achieving competitive advantage. And then the next is the global commodity chain. So the global commodity chain primarily focuses to analyze international trading system and increasing economic integration of international production and marketing chains. It was developed primarily to analyze the impact of globalization on industrial commodity chains. And then third, we have commodity chain analysis or approach filière. One of the objectives to the French systematic approach is to appraise the internal dynamics of the commodity chains expressed through physical flows of material and services needed to manufacture a final product. CCA starts with chain mapping as a first step of chain analysis to obtain an overview of the chain, the product flows, the chain actors, and the type of interaction between the actors. And then 3.2, chain analysis is a tool to build from agent account toward sector value added. The dominant idea behind the economic analysis of commodity chains is to lay out the overall activities of all the participants or agents who contribute to the production and or transformation of a given commodity. In order to achieve this economist identifies the flows which link the agents together. This involves identifying the outline of the chain and the position of the various agents within it, and then develop economic accounts corresponding to the activities of the agents in the chain. So that's 3.2. And then 3.3, we have commodity chain analysis as a tool for economic analysis. In current practical experience, two types of economic approach can be distinguished. So first, we have the impact approach. The impact approach uses actual market prices as used by agents, whilst the shadow price approach uses computed or economic prices instead of market prices to estimate the economic value of goods and services. The next, we have the analysis of agricultural and food policies. So this enables us an understanding to the decision-making environment as it develops within the study of food, agriculture policies, and the relevant institutional procedures and legal structures, the functions and powers of government bodies, and the effectiveness of market mechanisms. So that's all.
The concept of economic agent. Agents and institutional sectors. The term agent is used to describe an economic actor and a basic unit in the economy who undertakes and make decisions. This consists of a physical person like farmers, traders, and consumers, or a legal entity like businesses, an authority, or a development organization. Agent is a transfer of goods, services, or funds made between agents, and this exchange can be identified by the fact in some sense they are cross the boundary of the agent. The system of national accounting has developed a typology of economic agent that distinguishes 5 institutional sectors. These are firms, financial institutions, household, government, and last is the rest of the world. The purpose of these 5 institutional sectors is for the microeconomic analysis. This productive agent or enterprise uses factor of production to create new product or services. In this figure, the factor of production describe the input and output used in production. These include land, labor, entrepreneurship, and capital. Each productive agent is like a black box within which the production of goods and services takes place. Factors of production can originate externally to the agent. In this case, they must cross the boundary of the agent in order to be employed. This result in an economic exchange usually represented as a physical flow input and the corresponding monetary flow output. Figure 2. Transfer from the production unit to the consumption unit. This figure shows the PU and CU of peasant family. It is useful to separate the function of production. This can be divided to a production unit and consumption unit. This figure shown also that any subsistence consumption of the harvest by the family itself can be represented as a transfer unit. In the case of development agencies, activities and the corresponding flows of factors of production and output must also be subdivided by functions such as supply of inputs, credits, agricultural extension, processing, equipment, and management. Making these simple models, it emphasizes the fundamental elements of economic behavior and can help us understand the peasant family.
Good day. By the way, I am Regilictas Luren from BSAM 3B and now presenting what is specifications and operation of commodity chain. The production chain is defined to include all those economic agents that contribute directly to the production. Then, two transformations of marketing of a specific agricultural or livestock product, such as like growing of sugarcane and to the output of refined sugar. Those transformation is contributions functions which gives economic and financial value to a country resources. The definition of commodity chains for an agricultural product starts with a raw material as grown in the country and then divided into a system of sub-chains that representing the different uses and processes involved the product after harvesting. The first example of it is the cotton chain. Cotton chains which divides into several final products, which is two primary products such as the cotton fiber and the cotton seeds. It also common to differentiate amongst the subchains of the livestock production. For example, the government or parastatal subchain that supplies the large urban conurbations organizations through the domestic and export, while the private subchains also supplying a large urban conurbations only on the middle and small towns through domestic and exports on top also. The peasant subchains only supplying its self consumptions and small local business through domestic to market. In typical agro-commodity chain, the following elements are agents are likely to appear. the upstream and input supply chains or the input of the business, or seed productions, research, agrochemical production, agricultural machinery, agricultural equipment, initial and development of animal feedstock, agricultural and the livestock growing processes which produce commodities, processing, wholesaling, transport and retail industries. These are the manufacturers. And packaging industries, non-agricultural food chain, industry handling and processing, transport and distribution of industrial and energy products originating in agriculture, financial services, research, extension and services, credits, services, consumers, and catering service. The marketing boundaries of chain, or identifications of activities and flows between them. It is usual to start a primary and activity of agricultural production of commodity, which gives the name of commodity chains under analysis. Example of corn, rice, whether it is peasant or farm household, then the analyst then proceeds. On the one hand, to follow the product downstream through various marketing and processing channels to the final market, such as like adding value to an product. On the other hand, to identify the upstreams or principal providers of inputs, which is like service and which is feed into a productions. This one is the input of the organization of chain. In this way, the commodity can be followed through successive transformation as one goes down the downstreams, and major problems arise and precise determinations of the subchains link different between the processes, techniques, and different products or byproducts. In general, it is logical to follow a product all the way down to the final consumer or export market. There may be an occasions or where, for reasons of cost and the objectives of the study, it would make sense to analyze isolated segments of the chains which stops an intermediate level of marketing process. And that's it. Thank you.
Identification of agent in the chain. In practice, the identification of agent is part and parcel of the previous process of identifying activities and flows. How the rules and function of these agents are identified and allocated has to look at very carefully. In particular, the situation of agents that performs multiple rules, as is often the case of the staff of development agencies or the industrial or export promotion boards, and must be analyzed in detail and will possibly require specific surveys. Separating out the different functions they perform is a prerequisite for a technical analysis of operation of the chain, and eventually to develop the analytical accounts of each function. This may be particularly important when analyzing agriculture sector adjustment program, where restructuring of these types of development agencies may be an important element. Where possible, it is important to group agents into categories which are homogeneous from the point of view of economic, technical, and or socio-economic analysis. Small family farms and large commercial plantations are usually treated separately as much for socio-economic reasons as for the differences in production technique used, where the government itself, whether at local or national level, is directly involved in the operation of commodity chain. These two must be included, which is the specification. The third one is functional analysis. So once the activities and agent in the chain have been identified, it is useful to show their interaction in a functional analysis table, which includes the following. So the first one is the principal function in the chain, or the stage of processing and transport, as well as the activities associated with the supply of input which have been included as part of the chain. It also includes the agent or the aspect of agents carrying out out the function. And lastly, the product concerned in the chain are the principal product of the chain in the various form into which it is transported throughout the chain. Although the functional analysis table may seem a simple tool, it is indispensable, both as a construct for ensuring analytical clarify as a useful presentation tool. So the table 1 below is an example for a rice commodity chain in Thailand. In the example, it illustrates some of the issues discussed above. The analysts have to decide to distinguish between two types of farmers, the large and small, because they want to look at income distribution aspect. Again, the income distribution implication of the cooperative milling sector differ from those of the private milling sectors. The market for broken rice and a white rice are different, as these are separated to allow the analyst to come to a more precise estimate of what changes in income growth in the domestic market and the international market will have on the different segment of the chain.
Good day everyone. So today I will be reporting about the flow chart for a commodity chain. Commodity chain is a process used by the firms to gather resources, to transform them into goods or commodities, and to finally distribute them to the consumers. So it is a connected path in which a good travels from producers up until to the consumers. This is an example of a flowchart for a commodity chain where it shows that each link of a production and consumption links between the resource producers and suppliers to various traders, mailers, manufacturers, wholesalers, retailers, exporters up until to the human consumption. The flowchart of a commodity chain is an easier way to present information as it visually highlights the complexity and interaction and flows between agents.
Hi, I am Dominic Humawan Matildo. At this point, we will tackle about the conclusion of commodity chain analysis and the different types of analysis that incorporates in the commodity chain analysis. So first, the conclusion. The commodity chain analysis is part of wider set of different approaches of chain analysis, including also the value chain and global commodity chain. So they all represent the wide common aspects and can be associated to some extent. However, the commodity chain analysis, which is to build this methodological paper. So, commodity chain analysis incorporates a number of different types of analysis. The commodity chain consists in different types of analysis, and first of this is the institutional analysis. So, identification of the flows of the agents at work and the existing productive system, which give importance to institutions in determining the behavior of outcomes, given that institutions represent an independent change. Second is analysis of locations for decisions and collaborations among agents. So commodity chain analyze on where to locate the decisions and collaborations among the agents. So the second analysis that incorporates with commodity chain is the comparative analysis. So research in the relative competitiveness of chains and comparison of margins at different points in the chain, and of these strategies of actors. Yes, comparative analysis is consist of commodity chain because the chain provides the information that gives an idea to the actors to do the right strategies. It also seen in the previous illustration, which is the small farmers and the large farmers. So the third is the functional analysis. commodity chain analysis consists the functional analysis as it shows the identification of bottleneck. So, as earlier in the illustration that given by the reporter, we see the upstream and downstream in the chain. So, unsa din siya ang upstream guys? Diri na to makita ang kanang inputs, the supply logistics, and ang downstream, diri na to makita ang output delivery, the packaging, the collection, the standardization, and reduction of the quality norms. So, the last part of the analysis that is incorporates with the commodity chain analysis is the economic analysis. In the form of modeling, most importantly in simulation, especially for the purpose of the study. So, the economic analysis encourage development or increase the activity in the commodity. This helps the charities and their founders compare the value of the impact created by a social intervention with the cost of creating it. So, ang commodity chain guys is na siya field of application na gina-offers. The commodity chain analysis offers an economic simulation model, not a model of optimization. This simple framework gives commodity chain analysis a vast of field of application. This commodity chain analysis give economic simulation. It's something like encouragement model bitaw guys. So ang first is the descriptive studies and monographs. So it gives an idea in the descriptive studies and monographs. Second is the sectoral, subsectoral, and branch analysis. Third is the project analysis, ex ante and ex post economic evaluations. So fourth is the studies of comparative advantage and competitiveness, regional and international, and lastly the sectoral and macroeconomic policy analysis. So this would be all, and thank you.